Now, I have no idea what the heck eBay's thinking. These types of changes are what killed other platforms such as Ruby Lane. And if eBay goes this route, I see the very same thing happening. Hey, it's Don. Today I really needed to talk about what the heck is eBay doing these days. Left and right, they're making a bunch of changes in the back of the house. If you're a reseller, you've probably already seen many of them and know. What they have done is they have added extra steps. So now instead of just being able to click on an option, I have to expand something just to click on the same option. Now I know those are aggravating and normally I'm not going to bring it up anymore these days. I pretty much try to ignore everything eBay does these days. I don't report any issues. I don't call them unless I really have to, because 95% of the time it's a waste of my time. They blame us for the issue or whatever the case may be. Now, obviously those changes that they did to the back of the house are unnecessary. They mean nothing. They're not going to draw a single solitary new buyer to your store, to my store, or to eBay. They can move around where you got to click to run a sale. They can add more steps into doing a sale. They can add more steps into trying to figure out if you have best offers or not. They can remove it from your main page. They can remove the duplicate listing search key. They could instantly find any duplicate listings, which is what they did. They created a landing pad for your summary page for your hub, and now they've pretty much made it useless by taking away so many of the features. Now that's not even the issue that's bothersome, because it's just stuff that I'm going to have to work through. I'm not going to complain eBay because they'll never do a darn thing about it whatsoever. But the issue is them running away customers. Now I have a link down below in the description box down here to an article that Ina wrote over at E-commerce Bytes, one of the places that I always go to check on what's going on. I have for years. I've written for them in the past for several years as well myself. Now the article talks about eBay starting to charge folks, buyers on UK site, a fee. So they're going to charge the buyers a fee to buy items on the site. Now there's places over here right now that are doing that. I'm not going to call them all out because the conversation today is eBay, but anybody who can't get new buyers to your site, who's going to charge the buyers who are coming to your site, are just off the deep end and have no clue on how this all works. Now, if you don't know what Ruby Lane is, look up Ruby Lane and buyer's fees and see how well that went. Ruby Lane has been around for years, 15 years, 10, 15 years. It's been around for quite some time. I've sold on Ruby Lane. It's a antique collectibles niche, a click market where groups of certain people interchange stuff and things like that. It's been around for a long time. The owner of the site decided to charge fees to the buyer. Now, if you go to a real auction in real life, anywhere, at least in my state, Michigan, Indiana, even other states, you're charged a buyer's premium. As the buyer, it's usually like a 10% commission fee or something along that line. That's typical in an auction, a live auction, which helps cover the fees for the auctioneer, the building, electricity, and all that kind of stuff. I just pay it, it's no big deal. But to charge it on something that's not an auction in every state was crazy, and that's what they did at Ruby Lane. And what happened 3 or 4 years ago is that they haven't recovered since. Every seller on the platform threw a fit, which they rightfully should have, and it was pretty much withdrawn, and lots of people left the site for good. Not just sellers, but buyers. And that's the route if eBay goes, which could easily take and run a ton more off. Now, again, that's not even the main aspect on what eBay's been doing. Some of the changes they have been doing are, in my opinion, far worse than charging a buyer's fee, which charging a buyer's fee is right up there on things you should never ever do when you can't get new buyers to your site. When your gross merchandise volume is going down quarter by quarter because people are going to other platforms that are easier to find stuff because your search results are so skewed to push promoted listings to force sellers to pay more money. That's how I see it. I've been on eBay for a long time. I've never seen the searches so bad. Now, sales-wise, I'm not even complaining about sales because our sales are right there at fourth quarter numbers Already we're doing very good on sales. We sell niches, we have repeat customers, so that drives my business pretty much all the time. I'm not worried about that. But now with many of the changes, including one of the massive ones to best offers, I'm getting buyers upset with us over eBay's changes because eBay hasn't explained any of this to anybody. Now this issue has to do with you sending out offers to watchers. Now if I send offers to watchers in bulk, if they counter my offers to watchers or counter an offer that I made, it doesn't sell the item to that buyer, even though I personally sold the item to the buyer. It doesn't do that anymore on eBay these days. What happens in this case is that it won't be the person who I made the winners until he pays for it. Now that has nothing to do with me. I've had quite a few buyers upset because I couldn't even see the invoice to even know that I accepted it. Now this is an issue if there's several of you listening. One person may have accepted the offer, another person may look at the computer and not even realize that somebody else accepted it, and somebody's questioning about combined shipping, which you can't do in these cases. And then you have to tell the person, I didn't sell you anything. And that's just awful to have to tell a customer that you have no idea what they're talking about because eBay isn't clear at all. In these cases, if I get an offer, the only way I'm going to even know that I got an offer is through my email and eBay, and that's it. If somebody deletes it, you're SOL. You just have to trust that the person's going to pay for it or whatever the case may be. The item's still for sale, though. Now, I know someone's going to say, well, this is only when there's more than one person looking at that item. Well, that's not the case. I don't care what eBay says. I've been looking at it every time that I send offers to watchers. How many have one versus two or multiple people that the offer is going to go to? And it's not going to multiple people. Like most of the time, it's going to one person, and that one person still isn't the winner because of whatever eBay has done to this type of issue. Now, again, I'm going to show you some conversations I had with buyers who naturally assume it's us not wanting to give them the discount on multiple items to combine them, and that's, again, what's happened multiple times. Now, what's even worse is, let's say I sell it to somebody, and before he can pay for it, somebody else buys it. Now, who do you think's going to get blamed for that? Who do you think's going to not do business with me, even though I have, again, no control? These are changes eBay made. Now, in the past, I was allowed to actually not force anybody to pay immediately. I hate the forced payment immediately because it makes it much harder, and I'm doing refunds 2 and 3 times a day, every single day now, just to take care of combined shipping because I can't combine a lot of the orders when this type of thing is going on. And again, it makes us look like the fool, and now I've got to spend all this time every day sending out emails to folks to explain a couple paragraphs how eBay works now. Now, I know somebody will probably say, hey, they're sending a notice when that happens. No, they rarely send a notice. I buy on eBay too. I've only seen one notice on these at all, and I always do counter offers. So maybe it's something new, maybe it's not. Doesn't matter, that's not the case. When this first started happening as well, eBay didn't tell anybody. There was no specific announcement unless you watched one blog or one eBay, I guess it was a live vlog or something like that on their platform, which they've discontinued, mind you, that talked about it. And I don't watch anything on eBay. I don't read any of the stuff that they do because it doesn't matter. Half the time it's so vague and they don't show you what's happening. You just have to see it and then you'll know what's going on. And that's always how it is. This also creates a ton of issues for eBay. Now, why would it create issues for eBay? Now, if you check on the last few updates eBay has done, winter updates, fall updates, that sort of thing, when those updates come out, go and check the message boards on issues and glitches that people are reporting. Many times those issues and glitches are not issues and glitches, but eBay actually changed how things work. Customer service doesn't have a clue that they changed them and assumes it's a glitch when the customer is calling in. I've had it happen to me. When this change first happened with the offers not being sold to the person, I actually called eBay. I was told by eBay by 2 different people that this was a glitch on 2 different calls. If customer service had known this, they would have been instantly able to say, this is part of the update, just please be patient, and have a written script. But that's not what happened to 2 different calls on multiple days apart. Many of the reported issues and glitches on eBay, again, may not even be that. They may be changes that nobody was aware of. Many times eBay will announce changes after they made them. Now, we've had changes in my hub in the last 2 months that are just now being announced. We get some things rolled out way before other people, and they're certainly rolled out before eBay even tells us they're doing it. Again, that's why I don't question anything these days, and I almost never even pay any attention to eBay because it's always something with eBay. The fact that they would even think about charging a buyer's fee of any kind on eBay is crazy enough. The fact that they're changing things that directly affect a buyer or the buyer's ability to buy an item is even crazier. So again, I could sell an item to somebody before they even have a chance to pay it. Maybe they're on the road, maybe I didn't see it right away, maybe anything. Somebody else could come by and buy it out from underneath me. Even if I sell it to the person, someone can still buy it, which is again crazy. I'm not in any hurry to get the money. I'm not desperate for funds. I have turned off any time I've had the opportunity to not force somebody to pay immediately. I've turned those off. I always combine shipping on stuff. I have combined orders every single day. Today I had 3 of them. 2 of those I had to refund items because I was unable to combine. Now this is actually very inconvenient for the buyer, and it's something that they don't like at all because they have to pay money out just to get the order, and then they have to wait for the refund to show back up to them. And that's just not the way you do business if you care about your customers. I personally deeply care that my customers have a good experience and want to come back. I've had 100% good feedback for years because I do everything in my power other than just giving money away to do the right thing, to let my customers know how much I value their patronage of my store. You know, that's part of my biggest customer base are my repeat customers. Those are easy to talk to, but it's all the new customers coming in that don't understand that these are eBay doing this to us. It's not us doing it to the buyers. I didn't say, hey, I don't want to combine so I can make money off of you. That's not the case, but that's what a lot of people feel. The whole aspect that someone can buy an item out from a customer that I already sold it to is the worst thing I could possibly think of. I have no control even when I sell an item to a customer. The complaint really isn't about how they screwed up stuff in the back of the house, supposedly to help us. Instead, they've made it worse. But the biggest factor, again, to me, are my customers. I've worked years to get these customers only for eBay to do stupid moves that will seriously hurt my customer base. But that's what we're stuck with these days, unfortunately. Now we're going to hop over and look at a couple emails I sent out, which is hugely important to me to explain it to the customers so I keep my customers. If it wasn't for us explaining some of this to our customers, we would be selling less merchandise because they would think it was us. Now, I've just opened up a couple of them here. I could do this all day long. There's so many of these that I get. This first one here is someone who, another person here accepted some offers. I came in and had no idea we even accepted any offers. The emails were deleted because we get a bunch of junk emails, and sometimes they do get deleted just to clear things up. And I had to go in here and explain the whole thing on why we didn't realize that they didn't even have an offer. Well, now they've paid it, obviously, at this point, so it doesn't matter. But the point was that, you know, there's a constant issue with this. There's a constant feeling like, you know, eBay doesn't really care what happens to the customer base anymore these days. This is, again, just one. You've got time to read it. You can pause the screen if you want to see what the conversation says. Here's another one, a completely different person. Another time where I have to explain the deal. And again, guess they did it to get commission on both shipping charges, which, again, could be a thing. The whole point on this is that every time eBay does one of these changes, the only person who is benefited by this is eBay. And again, I've got to refund this. If I want to run a legitimate business, you don't just keep extra shipping when you're not using it. It makes no sense to send 2 packages when I can get away with 1, but I have no way to combine it. Now, I even have it set up to combined shipping in eBay where I can have people spend 30 days shopping in my store. It's an option in there. But again, I can't do anything with stuff like this. I've turned off anywhere where there was an option to not force somebody to do immediate payment. But again, I have no control over this. This is a daily occurrence. Here's another one. I had to simply explain. Now, this one's someone who I've dealt with before, so it wasn't a huge ordeal. But again, it gets really old when you've got to do this. And here's yet another one. Some of these dates might even be the same one, but this one just happened today. This is the second one just from today that happened. On several days in the last, say, 10 or so days, I've had to explain this twice to people. Now, I typed up a form version of it so I could just cut and paste, but every time the situation has, differences to it, and I want to address it personally to the person. So sometimes I'm typing a couple paragraphs, and this takes a lot of time to do it every single day of the week, sometimes twice a day. I've even had a day where I've had to do it 3 different times. And then on top of it, I've got to go back in and refund the difference tomorrow if they pay today or whatever the case may be. I would honestly recommend spending the time. Anybody who's listening to this, anybody you know that sells, to spend the time to explain how it works. This will help your customers. These are folks that I hope to see again. The person who bought this item also bought several more, obviously. And again, at this point, I don't want to lose my customer base. I don't want it to be such a hassle. They need to understand this, not just you doing this, that this is some stupid move that eBay did. But anyway, I just wanted to point this out because this has become the biggest frustration, the biggest buzz killer for customers, for my buyers. And then to think that they might be coming in and bringing in a fee here in this country, the United States, because they're doing it in England, where they charge the buyers a fee on top of doing these crazy, stupid moves like this here. Well, that's what I have for you today. Hopefully that gave you some ideas, some thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
When the sun goes down and the evening rolls around, that's the time I find got blue ribbon on my mind. I've got that blue ribbon on my mind. More and more lately I find I've got a taste for living. I'm thinking cold blue ribbon. I've got that blue ribbon on my mind.
Naturally good Pabst. America's premium beer since 1844. Pabst. A lot to look forward to.